Hi, salam alaikum. Suleiman Rahim here, breaker of the 7 seals, messenger of the covenant. Brothers and sisters, I want to talk about the 9 plagues upon Egypt. I think it's safe to talk about it. I've never really discussed it in the last 30 years because when I explain it to you, you'll see why. Because of the nature of it, what they really mean. Now, we have the sealed version and the unsealed version of the Bible. The sealed version has information, and what I've been telling you about the plague that would happen in 2020, that's from the sealed version, and that's referencing to the witnesses who, during that time, plagues would take place during the time after the JCPOA. That's mostly reference to that, but that's from the sealed. From the unsealed, right? I'm going to give you the unsealed version. See, that's not been revealed before. First time. And you'll see why not until now. I couldn't speak about it years ago because, as I said, as I'm speaking to you, I'm also speaking to them. And so I think it's safe now. So we're so close. I don't think there's anything they can do to change anything. But if I don't tell you ahead of time, then I'm reducing myself to Mr. Cub reporter Farrakhan when he's working with CNN now. Okay, let's go in, brothers and sisters, because now, I caution you, I'm not going to go into great detail, because I can get very great detail here. I'm going to give you an understanding of what these plays are, but that requires another presentation altogether to go into actually the finer points of what these plays mean. You know, what's happening, because what it does, it gives you a more detailed idea of about what's going to happen. So it gives you more information about what's going to happen and a lot more detail. And to get that extra detail, you have to go and start making some analysis, some critical analytics. Okay. So you'll see as we go in. So let me just move into it. Okay, now we see in chapter 18 it says, come out of her, see, it says, you should come out the people of me. In other words, come out of her, my people, in order that you should not share together to the sins of her and out of the plagues of her, in order that you should not receive. In other words, in plain English, get the hell out of here, or you're going to be affected by those plagues too. See, a lot of people got this crazy idea. They think that somehow that all these things will happen it's not going to affect them. No, if we hear, it's telling you, if we hear, God's not going to put a plague on this person and next person. If you hear and the weather goes bad, you're affected by the weather. It says get all together. See, Farrakhan got that some kind of mystical lie that we can stay here, but somehow we're not going to be affected by the plagues and things that hits upon America. It says, come out, get the hell out of there. Because I'm getting ready to bring a shitstorm on America. Get the hell out of there. See, that gives a lie to his stuff about we ain't going nowhere. We have 6 states. When the fall of America says the whole place can be burned up. See? He says, get the hell out of there. And when you see what these plagues are, then you'll understand what they're talking about. This is chapter 18. You can go and look into, read it yourself. I'm just the highlights. Because if we're going to get really into this, right, then this is not the platform for that. This is just to get you familiar with what those plagues are and what you're about to be confronted with. Hold on, bro. This is what happened here. What I got going on here? Oh, what the hell happened here? Got a little. Oh, here you go. Okay. Just trying to adjust my lighting here a little bit. Yes. Like this. That's a little better. Okay. I think I've been, my voice is still, problematic, coughing a lot. And, but I was able to make some adjustments on my microphone, so I think I'm getting a better sound than before, hopefully. Okay, let's move on. Now, let me move myself out of the way here. So, well, actually, I can just do this. But you can read it for yourself, brothers and sisters. Read the plagues, go on Google and read the plagues. I'm not going to go into read in detail. But the first plague was blood. Now see, oops, remove this. What they're talking about is this war that's supposed to take place. That's these plagues. And it's going into detail about this war. And the first plague, right, is what's about to happen now. See, the JCPOA has been dissolved. So the witnesses are in that position. That means they're in conflict with America and Britain. That means they're about to go to war. That's the first plague, the war. That's the first plague, the war. See? That's the first one. See? That's why it says it turns to blood, because we know from the angel, right, that those are two that turn to blood. The war is up there and the one down here, and that means they're in that position and they're about to go to war. That's the first plague, the war, which is imminent. Okay? Then, hold on, brothers. I'm going to make a slight change here. I'm going to make a slight change here. Let me back up here for, let me see what I can do here. Okay, I'm going to make a small change here. Bear with me for a second. I forgot to make that. I mean, I don't really need to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Hope I didn't mess up anything by doing this. What? Talked about the blood. Okay, there you go. Now the second plague, some of the frogs. Now if you study the AL-INJIL, you know the frogs also the demons. So what's happening here is that's when Babylon is cast down. Now this is something I have never really talked about in the past before, like I said, because I never talked about these plagues like this before. But I did say this in general. I said they're going to attack. When I talk about the Adam and Eve story, they're going to attack the black people, right? As soon, right, when they cast out. See? When they're cast out. So you're going to have, how should I say it? You have all kinds of confusion between the Christian blacks and the devil during this time. Like I said, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this, explain this, because we'll be here a long time doing that. But the frogs, see, it says, these frogs, they're going to be in everything. They're going to be in everything. They're going to cause a lot of confusion. Because they're going to attack. But remember, these demons, see, It's not time to flee yet. But they're going to attack. You see? They say, oh, wait a minute, I thought you said that the civilians and stuff going to attack. Right? No, that hasn't happened yet. This is before that. See? This is the government going, this is the government here. This is not the civilians. This is the government here. See? Because the abomination, the false Israel hasn't gone down yet. America falls before false. In other words, America loses the war, but false Israel hasn't gone down yet. Abomination, desolation hasn't taken place, but America's lost the war. That's where it says it's inhabited by demons and hateful birds. See? So there's a conflict when America loses that war. I'm not going into details, but you can surmise certain things, right? But there's a conflict between them because now America's at war and they're about to be at war with Russia, right? And they're going to want them to help them at that war. And there's going to be a conflict, right, between the government and the demons, especially Christian demons. I'm going to leave it there, but there's going to be a big conflict there. And it tells you, I will smite the waters with frogs, and the rivers will bring forth frogs abundantly. They shall go up and come into the houses and everything. So they're doing all, they're doing, it doesn't say anything, it's not really saying anything violent there. Just think about, I'm going to leave it there, but there's going to be a big conflict at that point. See? And they're going to be attacking all, see, the government's going to be attacking the blacks. But the idea, the point is, for what? They want to get rid of them. Okay, I'm making this much more complicated than I need to. Remember I talked about throwing them into the river? We have to put these things together. That's why I was really debating to go into this, because I can't do this in a summary way, because then I have to connect stuff, because I'll leave you hanging. I mean, what's the point of even doing this, right? The government's going to be at the war. They're going to need these people to help them fight. You see? But they want to get rid of them at the same time. And I heard a brother, he said a 2 million man army. No, it's a 200 million man army. They throw them into the river. They're going to use them to throw them and help them fight. Right? But they're going to contest it. I'm going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. But that's the plague. I intend to go into some much more detail, maybe in a few days. But I want you to understand, because right now, you have no idea what these plagues are. And a lot of you thinking they're going to be like, actually maybe frogs or lice and stuff like that. No, they're talking about this war, different aspects of it. See? And I go in more detail, because now it's giving more detail about the interaction between the Christian blacks and America. See, that's why I said to give you more detail, more insight. Now, you can study it and maybe you come up with some ideas yourself. But as you can see, if I start going into this, it would be all night, because every one of these I got to explain. All 9 plays I have to explain. This is just the second one. Okay, let's move on. And then it talks about the gnats. What are the gnats? Or the lice. Okay, now the lice, they're going to be smiting, right? They're going to be doing all this stuff. This is the war with America. I mean, America's be fighting with Russia and Europe. I said they're going to turn on them. That's the lice. Okay? Now, if you can go and try to get some idea about how people interact with lice and maybe get some wisdom out of that, that's up to you. I'm just telling you what these plagues are. Now, to go into detail about exactly what it means and analytics, that's not the platform for that. That's going to take time. But that's the lice. And nobody wants lice around. You see? And will smite the dust of the land, right? And it become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And they did so, right? So that's that's what the lights. That's what the lights are. America's at war with Europe, Eastern Europe, and Western Europe. Okay. And then the fourth one, that's the flies. See? Who are the flies? This is when abomination, desolation. See? That's the flies. Now America's, because look, America's in the center of all of these things. Let's back up and make sure you understand that. America's, they're the ones that are being plagued by all these things. See? Let's back up here. That's the third plague. The frogs, see? America's the one that's being plagued by the frogs. That's not the other ones. Because, America's under here, under this one here. Then America's the one being plagued by lice. They war with these. You see what I'm saying? They're the center of this. Now they're being plagued by the fleas. Flies, rather. See? And that, remember, when false Israel goes down, you got the whole false Israel community over here. Right? And they're going to have a say-so. And there's going to be a big conflict there because they're not only going to be trying to wipe us out, they're going to try to wipe them out too. I mean, brothers and sisters, I think maybe sooner or later, I need to go into much detail because there's a lot of information here about what's. See how much detail this goes into? Because I never talked about this before. See how much detail this goes into? See? Because now it's talking about the interaction between false Israel over here in this country and America. And when false Israel goes down, I never talked about that before in detail, or even at all, I don't think. But see, it's talking about all the different things going on in America in more detail, interaction between America and things going on in America and America's interaction with everybody else. So America's interaction with Europe is going to be like characterized by lice. So if you dealt with lice and you say, well, I get some idea what they're talking about. It's interaction with the Christian blacks is like frogs. It has a different tone, different feel to it. Its interaction with the Jews in America, right? The false Israel in America, it's going to be like a lot of flies. But all of them is going to be a plague to America. It's going to be trouble. It'll be trouble for all of them. Are going to be causing trouble for America. The flies are going to be. The Jews are going to be causing trouble for America. The Russia and false Russia and Europe is causing problems for America. The demons are causing problems. They're plague. All these are plagues on America. You understand, brothers and sisters? It's beautiful, but like I said, it will take some time to really go into this, brothers and sisters. And then it's talking about the cattle, livestock. See? And it says it's going to wipe them out, but it ain't going to wipe out the other cattle. See? That's talking about that's the interaction between the demon, the Christian blacks, and the Levites in the Nation of Islam. They're going to survive it. See? That's another story. That's what they're talking about there. Still, the interaction, right, between America and everyone else. Then the boils. See? Now the boils, right? It says the boils come on them. Well, they're totally wiped. The false Israel's taken out, right? America's fallen, right? And the boils represent. That gets a little more complicated, right? So I'm gonna leave that one there, but that represents the boil. See, because it says, and it shall come. And shall be a ball breaking forth with blains upon the man and upon the beast throughout the land. See, it's above all of that. See, that's another story. That's a little more complicated, brother and sister. I'm going to leave that one there. But that's what that means. See? And then it talks about the hail. Men, you should understand this one, because that's when the four winds start blowing. See, the hail also represents the four winds. See, what hits? It's America. These are all the plagues on America. That's the seventh one. All these plagues on America, hell hits them. America's getting hit by all these different scenarios. It's going bad for America. The war, demons, right? The Jews in America. all America's got to deal with all these problems. There's plagues for America. I mean, America has problems in all these areas. And then the hell. See? That's another area. Now we know the hell also represents the Africans, not us, but the African blacks. They got problems in every respect. That's what it's talked about here. See? That has some connection to the boils, but I'm not going to. If I go there, brother, that's a whole. I open up a whole other can of worms. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to leave boils alone. If I go there, I'll be talking about a lot of stuff. I know myself. I'll get into a lot of stuff I don't want to get into right now. But see, they got problems. Everybody. These are the plagues. Everybody. And America's got problems in every respect. They got war. They got problems internally, externally, right? The Africans is living here. Now they're attacking. They're fighting. That's what it's talking about. But all I said, it starts with the wars. All it's about that war. Those are plagues all about that war. We'll see it more clearly in a minute. And then the eighth one, locusts. See? It's locusts again. See? It's another stage. So it's telling you that with the demons, there can be two stages of conflict with them. Two stages of conflict with them. See? So finally, and they're going to have many stages of conflict with them because this is not the last one. You still got this is not the locust plague, a 5-month locust plague. This is not that. This is a different one. See? This is a different one. So they're going to have, in other words, what they're telling you, they're going to have so much problem with these Christian blacks all the way up until America's final destruction. So once that war starts, they're going to lose control of them, and there's going to be a number of conflicts. They keep different stages of conflicts. I mean, it's going all the way back to that George Floyd thing, right? They didn't have none conflicts with none trouble with the Christian blacks, the demons, right? And so it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse until finally ends up with a 5-month locust plague. This is just one. This is not the one. This is the one before everybody flees for when the nation is about to come together. See, this is why we're still in the womb when the war is going on. We're still in the womb. The war is broke. Right? So the war has broken. But we haven't come forth from the womb yet. The war is broken. This during time the war is broken and the war is going on. The water for the womb has broken, right? Because that's what happens when the war starts. So I guess we're in labor. I guess you say we're in labor at that point, right? And the war is going on, but the baby hasn't been delivered yet. Because remember, all the purpose of all this is for the baby to be delivered, because that's what takes place in the 9th plague. Because all these plagues, that's their purpose. The end result is for us to be delivered, the baby to be delivered, and removed, taken home. That's 8. And then the 9th. And the 9th is the one which says, that final plague says, I'll bring one plague more, one last plague, and that's the one that's going to cause them to drive us out altogether. That's the one that's going to drive us out of the womb, make birth, drive us out altogether, right? That's the one. Now I told you, there's 2 versions. There's a sealed version of that plague about the firstborn, and there's the unsealed. This is the unsealed one. Now I've been talking about this for quite some time also. Unsealed one, because first this one is, it says he'll kill the firstborn, right? Because remember, death also, we see what death is there, right? So it says they'll be put to death, right? But it'll pass over the original people that's under there. We're still there, right? And that's the one that drives us out all together. Because the firstborn is Britain, secondborn is America. Britain is the eldest. That's why it's the firstborn. Right? So when that happens, because see, you don't get the feel, you don't get the time feel, because these things happen very rapidly. All these places happen real fast. See, you might think, look, a week, no, this happened real fast, almost simultaneously. So all these places will hit America almost once the war starts. All these places hit America almost at once. almost simultaneously. See? And so that's what's going to, because remember, at that point, when the four winds blow, at that point, when they attack us, and then the four winds blow, that's when we come out. That's when, right, the resurrection takes place. That's when everybody flees and flees to the mountains. See? When that happens, you see, because that's the final thing, because that closes, because first Babylon falls, and if you read chapter 18, all these events take place, but the last event to take place is when the sea of the great is thrown into the sea. So you lose your sense of timing here. It always happens almost simultaneously. All these plagues been hitting America so fast. See, and that plague, that's the last one, right? And that's the one that causes to drive us all together. So if you look at it, if you look at it from a general sense, right? As soon as the war starts, these plagues hit America so fast, right? That's cause to drive us all together. In other words, it's not like they're gonna say, okay, y'all leave. It means all these things happening to America, right? Because we're in labor at that point, right? All these didn't happen causes the origination to come forth. As a great army, but a lot of us be fleeing, carrying on. So it's not because they're saying, okay, we're gonna let y'all go. They drive you all together. When you drive you all together, it means you're gonna be driven all together because you're being attacked. You're in conflict. That's what I mean, drive you all together. Does it say that in this translation? That's the gold and silver it talks about. Yes, he shall thrust you out here all together. They say thrust you out. You pushing, you forcing somebody. That means you're in the force. That means, right? They're trying to get rid of you. So it's instead of war. So I'm gonna take a leave it there, brothers and sisters. Now you really now you have a framework to work with. You know what these plays are. It's about this war. And it goes in a lot of detail that I can't do right now unless I take some time. I just want to but this should be enough for some of you to put this in perspective. Because now you have an idea what these plays are, and you don't have in your mind that it's going to be some really ice and frogs and stuff. It's all about this war. And all the things that happen, it goes into detail about little fine points that you wouldn't notice because you say, what does that lice mean? And see, go into some fine points like this locust thing. I never talked about that in detail like that. All the conflict they're going to have with these Christian blacks. They go in line. I talk in general. I says they want to attack them. I didn't go into all the specifics. See? You understand, brothers and sisters? That's what's happening here. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. See? That's what this plagues are. And it's already started because it starts actually, it's in the process because it starts, right, when the war actually starts. That's the first plague. Talking about the unsealed version. I ain't talking about this COVID stuff. That's from the sealed version. That's when it starts. And all these events happening, these plagues happening so fast. Bam, 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 bam. Right? See? And that puts us, it's not them saying, okay, y'all leave now. It's us coming to reality. We got to get the hell out of here. You see, that's it. Come out so you don't receive those plagues. They get the hell out of here. They're receiving her plagues. But the only ones that got out was the elect. Let me look at that real quick. The only one got out was the elect. The rest of them had some part in the plagues. The only one got out was the elect. They got out. But the rest had some part in that plagues there. You see? But the elect, they got out. And it tells you, repay her for what she's done to you. So that's that fire kind of stuff. No, we can't. No. That's vengeance, and they know it. That's why they're going to try to eradicate you, because they know you're going to get vengeance, and you deserve vengeance for what they have done. Okay, brothers and sisters. So we're going to close it here. Okay. Assalamu alaikum.